Hello, very good afternoon to you, and welcome to our coverage of this afternoon's major rugby international from Toulouse in southern France. France, as you know, are current Five Nations champions and undoubtedly the finest team in the Northern Hemisphere. In their build-up to the next year's inaugural World Rugby Cup, France have taken on an exhausting schedule. During the summer, they toured to Argentina, Australia and New Zealand. A win in Argentina was followed by defeat in both Australia and New Zealand. The All Blacks have had what can only be described as a controversial summer. The row over the rebel tour by the New Zealand Cavaliers to South Africa resulted in a one-match ban, and also the convening of a special international board meeting in London a few weeks ago when the prickly subject of professionalism was the main item on the agenda. The win over France in June was followed by a 2-1 defeat by Australia at home, so the All Blacks have to re-establish themselves quickly in world rugby terms. Well, in the studio with me now is my colleague Rob King, and he has some interesting guests with him who are looking forward as eagerly as I am to this afternoon's match. Rob.
Yes, interesting guests indeed. And first of all, John Pullen, former England captain, British Lion, played many times against the All Blacks. Must be looking forward to this game today.
It's going to be a good game, I think, Rob. You've got two very hard packs out there, and whoever comes out on top of that is going to run the game, I think.
We've also got another British Lion and former captain of Wales, Jeff Squire, played against the French a lot. An awful lot for them to prove today, obviously.
I think so, Rob, yes, and it's going to be very difficult for them because the All Blacks are so geared to winning that it's going to be a very hard and uncompromising game.
Two stars from yesterday. We've also got Bleddyn Bowen, a member of the current Welsh three-quarter line, injured at the moment, of course. Bleddyn would rather be playing, I know, but some compensation to watch a game like this.
Obviously would rather be playing this afternoon, but happy to be in the studio watching two excellent sides contest a great game now, hopefully.
Well, we'll have plenty to talk about later, but first of all, let's see what happened the last time the two teams met. It came on that taxing tour that the French undertook in the summer, a series of tests in Argentina, New Zealand and Australia, of course, but the one in New Zealand, they played with 30 of their top players banned after that controversial Cavaliers trip to South Africa. It was supposed to be a very weak All Black side, but it didn't quite turn out that way.
McGrattan makes a little burst for the All Blacks. Taken in by Earl. Releases it nicely for Kirk. Boddicker. Having a good game, Frano Boddicker. John Kerwin. With the strength of Kerwin. Found Harvey. Here's Brewer. Mike Brewer. Great try to the All Blacks.
Here it is from the end on camera. You'll see the way they go to the right. And the perfect kick from Boddicker. No Frenchman back there. A good take from John Kerwin. And watch the way as he gets tackled, he pushes the ball back. Harvey, a good footballer, this boy. And inside him, Mike Brewer. And he had good body position and he took it over.
It's all going right for the All Blacks. 18 minutes into the game. All Black scrum holding, in fact pushing France over the 22. Nice ball for Kirk. Boddicker, drop kick. Second drop kick for the All Blacks. Frano Boddicker this time. It's 12 points to 0.
So it's a quick kick, a drop kick attempt now.
Lescabura with the drop kick. He's finally done it. Jean-Patrick Lescabura, after plenty of practice, has finally landed a drop kick at Lancaster Park. Time is up in the first half. Held again by the French. Yabani at the back. De Bizier wants it. Lescabura, another drop kick. That's two for the afternoon for Jean-Patrick Lescabura. And it is now 12 points to 6 to the All Blacks. De Bizier, Lescabura. Another drop kick from Lescabura. Well, that might be the only way they can score points, the French, but that's 3. That equals the record set last year by Hugo Potter. Kirk to Boddicker. Here's the drop kick. Yes, it's another one for Frano Boddicker.
Well, John, 18-9 to the All Blacks there, with a much weakened side. On paper, at least, it should be a lot easier for them today.
Yes, the All Blacks are obviously going to start favourites, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that France will do a little better than that, and they could even pip them. I'd be putting my head on the line to say that, but I think they do fairly well.
What about the French then, Jeff? Because they've had a really up-and-down time. I mean, they beat Romania last week, but after what Ireland did to them, even that doesn't look a marvellous result.
I think it depends on very much on the players' state of mind with the French team. They seem to play very well at home in any case. It just seems that they lacked a little bit when they travel away. I think they'll approach this game very positively with the World Cup coming up at the end of the season, and it really depends if they've got the selection right and the frame of mind right. If they have, then it will be a very tight game.
What sort of game do you think they'll play, Bled? I mean, are they going to try and spread the ball wide and extend New Zealanders that way?
I think that's French's game, you know. I think they'll try and set up quick ruck ball for these great French backs to work off. And I'm sure that with the ball, these French backs will could score some lovely tries afternoon.
Interesting, the French team, they've got so many players playing out of position. I mean, they've got a full-back on the wing, they've got a centre on the other wing. They do chop and change their players about a bit.
As Jeff said, the selection with the French, it's sometimes quite amazing. But they're all fine, great players, and I suppose they're that good that they can play in any position.
What about the All Blacks then, John? I mean, they've been noted for their forward power, obviously, over the years, but they like to think they can play a bit outside the scrum as well.
They can play outside the scrum, but it's amazing how times change. I think when you look at the two teams there, front row especially, France have got the experience there and they've got the power. They've got a good pack, and I think this is where it all hinges. If French can get on top in the pack and keep this All Black back row in, that's what they've got to do, and all depends how it goes up there, I think.
Let's talk about the drop goals in the last game. I think quite interesting. 6 of them, 3 from Lescabura. The French do go for the drop goal a bit, don't they?
Yes, it's very interesting. You know, playing against France, it seems that when they're in your half straight away, that Lescabura especially is looking for a quick drop goal, and he's a great drop goal kicker, and also New Zealanders have that drop goal specialist in their side.
As a back row forward yourself, Jeff, obviously something that the two back rows are going to be on the lookout for this afternoon.
I think so, and as John has said, it'll be interesting to see, fascinating to see how the sort of game unfolds as far as the back rows are concerned, because New Zealand, that's traditionally been the strength of the New Zealand side, is a terrific back row forward prowess. And I think a lot will depend on how the front 5 of the New Zealand pack go, whether the French can tie them in, win good ball and commit them. And I think a lot will depend on the outcome of that sort of tight forward battle.
Of course, they've gone for Boddicker at outside half. That suggests in a way they might try and play a bit more of an expansive game, perhaps.
I think so. I mean, the whole emphasis of the New Zealand game has changed in the past few years. They do like to spin the ball wide, and they've got terrific player Kerwin on the wing. I'm sure they'll try and get the ball to him as often as possible. And the back row forwards will be across there and supporting.
What about the fact that they brought all these Cavaliers back into the side then, John? Is that going to help them? I mean, obviously they're better players, but what about morale and things like that?
Well, I think they did have to but as you said, the World Cup coming up, they've got to pick their best players now and find their best side before that World Cup does come up.
What about the hookers they've got up there? They've got Daniel Dubroca, the French captain, but New Zealand have gone for rather an untried lad, really, there.
Well, I was going to say Andy Dalton and Hicker Reid nowhere on the team sheet, which surprises me. But talking about the French hooker, he's a prop anyhow. But he did very well last year, to be fair to him, so obviously it's changed a bit up front, but they'll have a good battle up there, I think.
Yeah, the French pack, I mean, they're so interesting. We always talk about the French packs, but the French, they've got this macho streak. They like to prove they're as hard as anybody, haven't they?
If you played against them, you realise they are, quite honestly. They are hard up front, and over the years it has changed. It always used to be the French pack, but now they've got a very useful pack indeed.
Jeff, what about these French forwards? And you had enough battles against them. It gets a little bit nasty up there with them sometimes, doesn't it?
Yes, it can be a little bit on the brutal side, but I mean, the All Blacks are no angels either, so I'm sure those lads will be given as good as they get. And it's amazing that you put a New Zealander in an All Black jersey and he seems to grow about 2 feet. They've got this terrific pride in their performance. And I think it will be a very hard battle up there because the French, they'll give as good as they get, particularly in Toulouse. It'll be an interesting confrontation up there.
We're talking about the size of the forwards, Bled, and it's quite interesting that the French seem to be going for very big backs at the moment, don't they?
Yes, especially Lescabura, I think, is about 6'2". But as I know, the French got some great backs, especially Philippe Sello, who we all know in Wales just got to try in every international last year.
Yeah, interesting. They can afford to leave people like Cordonier at the side altogether.
Yes, that's right, who played in the B International. And Chavet as well. I don't know whether he's injured, but it's amazing they got so many great backs there.
When they're as big as Lescabura, that poses obviously extra problems with someone like you when you go and tackle them.
That's right, you know, he's such a great player, but obviously when you play against Lescabura, then you must tackle him and hopefully put him to the ground. And I've seen these New Zealanders will do this afternoon.
Because we're seeing France playing this afternoon, John. They're in Scotland's group in the World Cup. Obviously they're going to be interested in the way things go this afternoon there.
Yes, it's amazing the effect this World Cup has on all these matches are very important. Everyone's watching one another. And they've got to get it right today. But Scotland are no mean side themselves. But I always think that New Zealand, Australia, especially New Zealand, really, to me, they're invincible, and they are the cat's whiskers in rugby circles.
They like to think they're invincible. Of course, they have lost that series at home to Australia. That was a real blow to their pride, that, I know.
Yes, it was, and I think it'll make them go that much harder. As you say, they did think they're invincible, and I still think of them as such, although they obviously aren't. But they're going to be a good side, and having lost, they've had their problems recently. They're going to come back with a bang, I think.
Jeff, what do you remember about the games against the All Blacks? You didn't have too much success against them, I think, in your own playing days.
I never was on the winning side against them, Rob. They're always very physical confrontations. You never come off having played a game against the All Blacks with anything but bumps and bruises. They are very physical. That is the way they play the game over there. They pride themselves on this sort of macho image that the rugby players have, and they play very much to it. And this great pride in their performance helps them to breed winners, and that's what they do out there. Everything is geared towards winning at rugby.
Jeff, Bledin, John, for the moment, thanks very much. I think we can have a look at the teams now. First of all, we're going to have a look at the French team. There it is, Blanco at fullback, Berro, Sella, Bonneval and Andrieux. Lescabura at outside half, the man who scored those 3 drop goals in Christchurch, all his side's points when they lost 18-9. Bezier at scrum half, front row of Jabowski, Dubroca the captain in Garraway, Laurier and Condom in the second row, and Rodriguez, Caminati and Champ in the back row. That's the French side. And now I think we can have a look at the New Zealand side. There it is. Kevin Crowley at full-back. Kerwin, Stanley, Stone and Green. Franco Botica and David Kirk at scrum half. McDowell. Sean Fitzpatrick, the hooker, getting the vote instead of Hicker Reid. Andy Dalton injured, of course. Drake, the other prop. Gary Wetton and Pearce in the second row. Brewer, Shelford and Jock Hobbs, the captain. That's the New Zealand side. 6 of those played in the side that beat France in Christchurch back in June. And obviously they're going to be able to repeat that performance today. So, Jeff, any last thoughts before we go to the game, John?
Not really. I just sitting back looking forward to it, and I think the first 20 minutes, I think, is very important to keep an eye on the scrummaging. I think it's going to be fierce and hard, and it could be a fair bit happening there, I think.
Quick prediction?
I suppose you've got to go for New Zealand. A sneaking suspicion that France might just do it, but hopefully that's all.
Jeff, what about a prediction from you?
I can't see past the All Blacks. I think they are, as you say, invincible at the top, so I'll go for New Zealand.
So 2 for the New Zealanders. Bledin?
It all hinges up front, I think, Robert, but looking at the strength of the New Zealand side, I've got to go for New Zealand as well.
So it looks like all 3 of us here are going for New Zealand. And now back to Alvin.
Yes, indeed, a marvellous afternoon's rugby in prospect. Well, now it is time for us to go over to the stadium at Toulouse for uninterrupted coverage of the match. As usual, your match commentator is Bob Simmons with analysis by Gerald Davis.
Straight away, that kick-off from Crowley going France's way. Back to Jean-Patrick Lescabura. That's not a good kick from him, though. Beautiful taken by Crowley. That's the high up and under. Such a typical feature, of course, of the New Zealand game. Putting France under pressure immediately, but good play here by the French. The tackle in midfield there was by Arthur Stone for New Zealand, but it's back once more on the French side. Lescabura out to Bianco. Blanco, the long kick through. Lovely kick through by the French fullback. And finding touch just a few metres short of the corner. Superb play there by Serge Blanco. Should be taken though by New Zealand. But the referee's whistle has gone. Referee Strydom calls them back after that kick forward by Craig Green, the New Zealand left wing, the number 11. So the line out is formed about 50 metres out from the New Zealand line. At the back of the line there, for France, they have Eric Champ, number 6, and Alan Carminati, number 8. The Newcastle played against Romania, winning the second cap in fact today. 2 men that they will aim for, I'm sure, in this lineup. In fact, the referee's whistle is already gone. But a good start by France here, Gerald.
A superb rolling ball by Blanco. A ball won at the ruck very quickly, which Blanco took advantage of by giving a long rolling ball, now putting the advantage deep into New Zealand territory.
But New Zealand retort by winning that ball against the head, allowing David Kirk, the scrum half, to kick France back deep into their own territory. So 1 up then for Sean Fitzpatrick of New Zealand in this battle of the hookers over Daniel Dubroca. Dubroca, the French skipper, number 2.
Of course, it's Bezier, the scrum half, who's throwing into the line out for France.
Yes, Bezier throwing in. And there we see Dubroca, the hooker, playing at scrum half. Early bit of fire in this game. Referee Strydom, though, cooling things down quickly, allowing the All Blacks to take a shortened line. So it's Fitzpatrick, the hooker, into Pierce for... But the interception by Wetton, or the attempted interception anyway by Gary Wetton, the second row, but it's coming back once more on the French side. Verbizier feeds it out to Jean-Patrick Lescabura, the outside half. Very coolly done to jinx inside and take play back up to the halfway line. This man Lescabura, the most prolific kicker in French rugby history. They've really missed him recently because of injury. Jean Laporte came in to take his place, but now he's fully fit again. And we'll look now to his forwards to provide him with some ball to drive New Zealand back once more. That's tap back on the New Zealand side to Frano Botica. Once again keeping pressure up on the French by putting up these high up and unders. Tap back by Carminati and tidily. Verbizier, the scrum half, was in there. And finally again the referee's whistle goes for the knock forward, and France in fact gets the put in at this scrum. Number 13 there, Joe Stanley, the centre, in the foreground of picture, the All Black centre. And Pierre Verbizier, the French scrum half, waiting to feed, but in fact the scrum collapsed there on the New Zealand tight head side. Number 3 for New Zealand on the tight head side is John Drake, winning his first cap this afternoon, the 27-year-old prop from Auckland. Propping against Hervé Chabotski on the French side. The referee, though, still not happy with the propping there, and in fact deciding that the New Zealand front row are to blame. So a chance then for Lescabura once more to clear. That's another good long kick taking play just inside the New Zealand half. Quite a good start here, certainly by France, but we've seen certainly the early New Zealand tactics. When they get the ball goes up high, particularly from Botica.
That is what they always do. That's what they want to do in the early stages of this match, is to kick the ball ahead of their forwards so that their back row can get there first and running onto the ball.
That's coming back again on the All Black side. Botica this time, though, opens it up. Number 12, the long kick through there by Arthur Stone. It's not a good one, though. Andrea puts it up for France. And finally, that long kick there from Stone is another good one, and it's taken play almost up to halfway.
Both sides at the moment, I think, with so many lineouts at the early stage, each side trying to size up the other. The quality of the possession as yet on the lineout not quite good enough. That's an area where they need to settle down fairly quickly, I think.
So Verbizier, the French from half puts in again. That's cut back by Carminati, but through go the All Blacks. Murray Pierce, lovely pass there to Gary Wetton. That's to Stone. Stone is tackled just short. In go the All Blacks, now getting second place possession. Superbly done to Botica, to Stanley. And here's surely a try. No, they make a bit of a mess of it. Great chance there for New Zealand is lost. And the French escape dramatically.
New Zealand there at their best, the ball ahead of them, the forwards getting there together, and once at the breakdown, the ball returns very quickly on the All Black side, having the all of the lap. I'm sure New Zealand themselves, looking back on that occasion, would have felt that a mistake, a chance had gone astray.
New Zealand, though, still very close indeed to this French line. And they have the put-in at this line-out through hooker Sean Fitzpatrick. Puts it long towards the back of the line-out. Carminati went up for France, but it's back once more to Botica. Botica opens it up. Kerwin tries to come in the line. 14. Stone again trying to straighten things up here. Getting support too from his back row. Number 7, Jock Hobbs, the skipper, was in there. And New Zealand once more gets second place position to Botica. That pass to Green. Green well tackled, but again the ball is alive on the New Zealand side as Wetton 5 tries to drive through, but again the referee's whistle goes. But there looks to be a certain inevitability, doesn't there, about the New Zealand approach?
But the point being that it's the New Zealand back row at the moment, getting enough possession, but once getting it from the loose, they are there to support any breakdown in the middle of the field. And we saw it there twice, in fact, with New Zealand getting the ball. Once there was the tackle, Hobbs was in there, Brewer was in there, and Shelford also floating around, waiting to get that ball at the breakdown. This is where they're good. This is where the strength of New Zealand rugby is, at the back row, looking and getting that loose possession.
Meanwhile, it's the All Black centre Arthur Stone who needs some treatment. A 25-year-old centre from the Bay of Plenty area, a man well known, in fact, to people in Great Britain. He toured with the New Zealand Maoris. Good-looking centre. And he's okay again, so the game can recommence. And New Zealand in a very strong position indeed. Deep inside the France 22. But it's Bebizier for France who will have the feed at this scrum. The All Blacks trying hard to disrupt that. Lescaburo, though, takes advantage of that pass from Bebizier to put in a good high kick.
So important for New Zealand. They are not renowned for the tough, powerful scrummage. They're quite happy more often than not to keep it square, to get parity there. Whereas France, more often than not, and the Farouks, their coach, want to establish power in the scrum as soon as possible.
That's a good tap by Pearce on the New Zealand side, once again allowing them to attack. Stone looking forward again from his back row, and he gets it. Botica. Botica's kick goes straight, though, to Blanco. But Blanco's kick, too, has failed to find touch. It's Kieran Crowley. Crowley now who can counter-attack for New Zealand. Carminati, the number 8, is in there. Withstands the challenge of Jock Hobbs, the New Zealand skipper, number 7, before going crashing into touch Alan Carminati. The atmosphere here really boiling up. Here we see the incident with Crowley going through, putting through that little kick. And as any good number 8 should do, Carminati was following up.
But look at the support here coming from New Zealand. Carminati beats one man, but Hobbs is also in there. And New Zealand soon gets it in numbers, not giving Carminati the second chance of getting away with it.
Number 2, the New Zealand hooker, Sean Fitzpatrick, on the floor getting up. He's okay. Sean Fitzpatrick winning just his 3rd cap this afternoon. Another Auckland forward. And fullback Kieran Crowley needing more extensive treatment, though. But Alain Carminati has really burst on the international scene for France for number 8. Did so well, particularly in the lineouts against Romania. Winning just his 2nd cap today. Well, both the New Zealand casualties, Crowley and the 2nd row Fitzpatrick, are okay again. So Carminati waits at the back of the line there, where he'd be marked by Wayne Shelford, waiting for this ball to come in from Fitzpatrick on the New Zealand side. Beautifully taken once more again there by Murray Pearce, allowing the All Blacks to attack. Into first 5/8 Arthur Stone, getting support once more from hooker Fitzpatrick. Bundled into touch, though.
No quarter pass or given by either side at the moment. The man with the ball not only gets the first defender, the first opponent, the first tackler. There's 2 or 3 men getting in there for the man with the ball.
We often think, Gerald, of the French being a good, attractive team, but they can be very physical as well, of course.
They'll want to establish their superiority and their power in the forwards, first of all.
That's one on this side by Eric Sharp there for France. Bebizier can put the little kick through. John Kerwin slipping, but having the time to recover, and the kick's left-footed into touch. John Kerwin, this big 6'3" tall Auckland winger, just 21 years of age, but he's already won 11 caps for New Zealand. A prolific try scorer and a really big man. So Bebizier, the scrum half, once again feeds. That's coming back once more on the French side. Dubroca, the hooker's in there, number 2. Bebizier has recovered his position. That's out to Lescabura. Lescabura this time can put up the high one. Back though on the All Black side. And skipper Hobbs out to David Kirk. But this is a particularly big pitch. And Blanco can get into a position to take that catch. But unfortunately for the French fullback, his kick went in on the full. But like most soccer pitches, Gerald, obviously this is a big area. That's going to affect the game somewhat, isn't it?
Well, surprised so far that France particularly are keeping it so close to their forwards, using the back row. A high kick from Lescabura now and again, or Bobizier going on the narrow side, whereas I would have thought with a seemingly wide pitcher that normally one would have expected the French team to spin it out on the onto the flanks, to spread the New Zealand defence. Nothing that New Zealand prefer more than to play it close, because that is where their strength traditionally lies.
Meanwhile, Serge Blanco, the French fullback, needing a bit of treatment. You saw a little earlier there the modern equivalent of the sponge, the magic sponge, the magic spray. And he's having to go off the field, in fact, Blanco, for further treatment. France then down to 14 men. If temporarily, they are very fortunate in having on their right wing Philippe Perrault from Agen, who is the normal Agen fullback. Blanco has further treatment. Play still goes on. Referee Stridham wanting the two scrum square, but Hooker Fitzpatrick unable to get his head down immediately for New Zealand. And in fact, referee Stridham has penalised the French front row. So release then for New Zealand, and skipper Hobbs calls up fullback Crowley. Kieran Crowley's kick from fullback is safe, doesn't in fact gain a great deal of distance, but it's safe. So the French then with their two main jumpers, Alain Laurier and Jean Condom. And they jumped in the line-out against Gary Wetton and Murray Pierce for New Zealand. Meanwhile, Serge Blanco is fit again and can return out of picture at the moment to the fullback position, as Eric Champ takes that ball in the line-out for France, but the ball has deviated off course. So referee Stridham calls for a scrum to New Zealand. Once again, the French perhaps putting a bit of pressure on before the ball is put in. The referee will penalise them shortly if that continues. On this occasion, it's Shabowski, the loose head prop, who was worn by referee Stridham, but France have won that ball. And Champ looking to go in for the pickup, but the referee has in fact spotted an offside by New Zealand. So a penalty then to France, quickly taken. Dubruka, the hooker and skipper, Lescabura. France trying to get clear in the centre field, but centres Bonival, 12 and Sella getting themselves into a bit of a mess there. But I'm sure the French will expect a lot, Gerald, from these two centres this afternoon.
Well, they will. If they give them the ball so far, they'd be reluctant to do so. But both sets of three-quarters, seems to me, at the moment, are capable of making mistakes. We saw New Zealand earlier on in that first 5-minute spell, dropping the ball, the passing not good enough, and again, France in that movement then, too, making errors in midfield.
Let's see what the All Blacks will make here. Shelford, that big man, setting out Kirk, and out to left wing Green. Green trying to link back in field. New Zealand still have the ball, but the referee's whistle has again gone. But certainly a nice, quick break there from the scrum by New Zealand.
But neither side at this moment having settled down completely, because at the moment the passing is a bit awry, not getting to the hand.
Referee Stridham having to call the scrum back once it collapses. A ruling brought in by the International Board to try and prevent some of those serious neck injuries that do happen every now and again in rugby. Mainly, of course, from this sort of position. That's a good strike by Dubruka, the French hooker. Bezier, the scrum half underneath it, but he's under terrible pressure from the All Blacks. The pickup there was by Eric Champ for France, number 6, but the referee's whistle has gone anyway. A penalty to France. And there's 6-foot outside half, Lescabura once more called up to try and take the French back into the New Zealand half. That's a huge kick by Lescabura, but he's not going to find touch. And Craig Green can pass that ball infield to Kieran Crowley, this All Black fullback. So play is taken almost up to the New Zealand 10-metre line. Some players then to identify for you on the French side. Number 6, Eric Champ. In front of him, number 8, Alan Carminati. Number 7 is Laurent Rodrigues. Number 5, Jean Condom. Condom, number 5, it was who went up for that one. To Brooker, number 2, trying to wrestle it clear. Under pressure from Shelford, the number 8 of New Zealand. But good play here by the French forwards. But they've lost it. Maybe over-elaborating a little, trying to take on the New Zealand pack. In the end, the ball went forward. But referee Stridham has decided to give the scrum to France. Rodriguez trying to pick up.
Both sides at the moment very unsettled, making far too many errors in most phases of play for the game to really become effective.
So David Kirk then, the New Zealand scrum half, skipper until this tour. And so to Big Joe Stanley, the centre. Long kick there by the second 5/8. The outside centre, inside centre rather, is called in New Zealand. He makes a big, deep kick upfield. And so the French are back once more in their own half. Wetton and Pierce against the French jumpers. That's gone to Eric Champ on the French side. Beautifully taken, trying to get support from Dubroca. Rodriguez is in there too. But once more, that ball has gone forward. Certainly rather a scrappy start to this game. Although it must be said with plenty of promise, particularly from the All Blacks whenever they've got into the French 22. So it's Kirk then into that scrum. Wayne Shelford, number 8, waiting to give it up. The referee once again wanting that scrum to reform once it's collapsed. Keeping a close eye on the two front rows. The props on that far side of the scrum for France, Jean-Pierre Garouet. Their tight head against Steve McDowell of New Zealand. This time it's a quick heel for New Zealand. Kirk, the dummy scissors there. But his kick doesn't find touch, and Blanco, under pressure from his opposite number, Kieran Crowley, kicks straight into touch. So play is brought back to a metre or so to within the French 22. And once again, maybe with a shortened line in prospect, we can see something from the New Zealanders. That again, this lovely move involving Wetton. Wetton trying to link with Pierce, number 4. But again, the ball nudged forward, but an interesting little tactic at the line out there, bringing in Wetton, number 5, who's out of the line-out to start with, Gerald.
That's right. They've twice used it now where Wetton stays in the scrum half position. They extend the line out, and the gap that's created, it's Wetton who takes the ball. Twice now they've done it. Twice they've been successful.
But referee Stridham having a lot of problems so far with the scrum. Down it goes once again. And surely he must sooner or later take action, because almost from every scrum it ends up collapsed. The referee now deciding he wants to concentrate on the far side of the field. Finally, the free kick is given for a crooked feed, I would think, there by Bizier, the French scrum half. Yes, it is. So a free kick here then to New Zealand, and a chance perhaps for a set-piece move for them here. David Kirk, the scrum half, with the ball at his feet. Number 9, there he is. That's out to Boddicker. Boddicker going for the drop goal. Just off the edge of the post and behind. allowing Blanco to touch down. As 13th Philippe Sella for France, trying to restart. Here's the drop goal attempt by Frano Botica. And he came so near, didn't he, to putting New Zealand into the lead. Meanwhile, back live here. It's Cohen again with that huge kick. Carminati, the number 8, is underneath it. Takes it well. Seems to call for the mark, although he's outside his own 22. Number 8, Shelford, going through for New Zealand. But Carminati, as we see, with the ball still in his hands, to the delight of the local fans. And we have an injury once more on the New Zealand side, this time to fullback Crowley. So do you see any real pattern developing as yet, Gerald?
None so far, basically because at the scrum and the line-out, the two major set pieces of the game, the ball does not return cleanly enough. The scrum, as we've seen on many occasions now, is a very untidy affair altogether. As you were saying earlier on, Stride and the referee, sooner or later, will have to do something about it. Wherever he seems to stand on the or near the scrum, is the other side of that scrum that seems to collapse. That area of the game needs to be tidied up.
So as Carminati gets his orders from scrum half Baptiste, play about to resume with Kieran Crowley, the New Zealand fullback. Okay again. Kirk feeds. Botica has gone blind. That's the high kick by Kirk. Blanco is underneath it. Kirk is still there for New Zealand. Witten, number 5, trying to get in for New Zealand. But again, scrappy bit of play. It looked promising when Frano Botica to be setting up a move outside the scrum, waiting for the quick heel, but New Zealand getting themselves into a bit of a mess. As once again, down goes the scrum. This time John Drake on the tight head side for New Zealand, and Hervé Jabowski for France. And it's David Kirk, the New Zealand scrum half, who's got offside there.
But it's well worth saying, perhaps, that Strider, being South African, is not all that accustomed to refereeing matches at this level anymore. And it may be that he should be stricter at the scrum. Certainly is something that referees in our country wouldn't have tolerated so long in this half.
Certainly a certain Clive Norling, I'm sure, would not have. Anyway, we're back for a line-out. As the French forwards await the ball from the New Zealand hooker. It's Carminati, the number 8, who taps back on the French side. Again, though, it's an untidy ball, but the French get away with it. And left wing Marc Andrieux's kick is a good one.
More and more now it seems at the line-out that France, when they get their throwing, they do send it back to Carminati, Rodriguez and Sharp at the back, where they do have an added height advantage against New Zealand.
Certainly in training this week, they've been concentrating very much on their back row trio, particularly Carminati and Sharp, to the exclusion perhaps of Condom and Lorient at the front of the line. But it's Hooker Fitzpatrick then driving through for New Zealand. The French in their training this week certainly looked as if they were going to concentrate on their front 5 with the powerful scrummaging of their front row and the driving play of the two locks, who are no great line-out jumpers though, but certainly good scrummagers. So let's see what Baptiste, the scrum half, does this time. Baptiste once again going long towards Champ. Champ takes it beautifully two-handed. The hack through there, though, is a bit indisciplined, giving the ball back once again to New Zealand. And a chance for Crowley to counter-attack. David Kirk, out the ball, there goes to Coe, and this huge right winger. Superb play here by New Zealand. Looking for support when perhaps earlier he might have switched the ball in field. But certainly the first example there of the great power of that man, John Kirwan, the New Zealand right wing.
and an example too of New Zealand now really wanting to get away from the set-piece play. Here it is, here's Cowan dipping his shoulder there, getting rid of his opposite number, Barrow, and still continues. Look at the support inside him here. He does hesitate a bit. The pass then would have been to his advantage, or to New Zealand's advantage, had he done so. But instead, France reboot, they get their defenders there, and it goes out of play.
Meanwhile, again back here, the ball has been won by France, but that's a poor kick there by Says Blanco. Up to John Cowan, the long drop goal attempt by Cowan, the fullback. And it's there. So the first points of the board then come from the boots of the New Zealand fullback, Kieran Crowley. New Zealand in the lead by 3 points to 0. A fine piece of opportunism.
And that's the halfway line there that we've just seen. A beautifully struck ball by him, and it's struck so well that it carries all that distance straight between the posts, is something that I think, on the constructive part of play so far, New Zealand deserves.
Kieran Crowley, just 21 years of age, but really establishing himself now in this New Zealand team as France restart. 3 points down here at Toulouse. A long kick-off. The ball just landing a metre or so from the dead ball line. So this will be a dropout on the 22 to New Zealand. Will it? No, in fact, they are, brought back to halfway for the scrum. Referee must have confused the lines behind the post there, because that ball certainly did not go over the dead ball line without bouncing, which is the rule, of course. But anyway, it's a scrum back on halfway for New Zealand. Kirk, that pass out to Kieran Crowley. Now he can switch it to the other side of the field here to Joe Stanley. Joe Stanley putting the kick through there for Craig Green. Green up quickly there on Eric Bonneval. Bonneval, the French centre, forced into touch, so a line out once more then to New Zealand. Quickly taken, tap back once more on the New Zealand side to Kirk. Kirk getting support here from his back row, from Mike Brewer. Craig Green out there to Hooker Fitzpatrick, who really is showing up well in open play. And the feet go piling in from the French this time, but it must be said in inimitable New Zealand style.
But good change of tactics by New Zealand. They do not want to quite clearly get embroiled at forward. They are now, as is shown there, they took the quick line out. They counter-attacked a couple of minutes ago. They want to keep the ball loose. They want to keep the ball moving, whereas France, without any sign of a change of tactics at the moment, are happy to get embroiled at forward. New Zealand, as is typical of them, good thinking on their part. They want to get away from the set pieces as quickly as possible.
So a bit of action for to see here. Once again, we're having a look at the drop goal here from fullback Kieran Crowley, taking the ball, as you see there, right on the halfway line. And what a prodigious effort this is. A huge kick there, which in fact I think I'm right in saying is still rising as it goes over the post. Meanwhile, once more, the scrum has collapsed and is broken up now into fisticuffs. Referee Stridham certainly has to take control of this situation, and quickly. Both sets of forwards, both sets of front rows, obviously now getting frustrated. So the referee needs to take action.
France particularly, I think, are getting frustrated. They have concentrated their offers on the scrum, but they're not getting in their way by New Zealand.
Again, passions flaring up. Daniel Dubroca, the French hooker, points the finger at the New Zealand front row. As Gerald mentioned, the New Zealanders disrupting the powerful play of this French front row. That's the pickup by Shelford there at number 8. Really a superb atmosphere here at the stadium in Toulouse. We get so used, of course, in Britain to seeing matches from France played in Paris. It should be remembered that, in fact, that a test match was played here at Toulouse as far back as 1925, a match, in fact, between the All Blacks and France, won on that occasion by the All Blacks. Bezier once again then into the line. Brewer, number 6, was up there for New Zealand, but it comes back on the French side to Bezier. The long pass. Chance for them to counter-attack. Left wing on Brewer. Finally, there was pulled down, but the New Zealanders have been found guilty of an offence. Arthur Stone, the centre, number 12 there, judged to be guilty. And we could be in for quite some game here. Lescabura then with a kick. Taking play up to the New Zealand 10-metre line. New Zealand then still in the lead by 3 points to 0. Sean Fitzpatrick waits to put in. He will aim to keep the ball, I would have thought, away from that French back row. He certainly does. He goes towards the middle. And in fact, Condom, the French lock, is penalised at that line-out. So a penalty then to New Zealand. Quickly taken by Kirk. Up it goes. Doesn't get a great deal of distance, but has got quite some height. Champ, the number 6, was underneath it for France. But it's coming back once more on the New Zealand side. The drive there by McDowell, the loose head prop. On go New Zealand. Number 3, John Drake, the tight head prop, was in there, trying to wrestle the ball back. And it was Gary Wetton, 5, going in there in New Zealand style with the feet, trying to ruck the ball back.
The crowd made a bit of a roar then as New Zealand did try to ruck that, but in fact it was all happening on their own players. In fact, it was all New Zealand players who were there with the ball and went down, and the rucking occurred going over the New Zealand players. Whoever's on the floor, as far as New Zealand is concerned, the rest of the forwards try and drive over.
Yeah, it's a point very often forgotten, I think, by people in this country who criticise their style of forward play.
Yes, the French crowd then thought that it was the French at the bottom, but in fact they were all black jerseys.
So once more then a break here for an injury on the French side. New Zealand, having played 5 matches so far on this Tour de France, having won all 5, but as yet have started rather slowly in most of their matches. And they had a hard time of it in midweek in Perpignan against a local Fast 15.
But look where Shelford is placed this time. He's taken a different position at the scrum.
Bottiger picks up for New Zealand. Gets support there too from number 6, Mike Brewer. Back once again, a chance for a drop goal for Arthur Stone, and it's there. So a second drop goal then of this first half for New Zealand. And it's the Maori centre, Arthur Stone, who gets it over to double New Zealand's lead to 6-0.
It's interesting to see at the scrummage. It's the 4th time that it's happened now that on their own footing, Shelford, in fact, places himself between the second row and the wing forward. It doesn't come back cleanly, but New Zealand regroup quick enough. They get there, they get behind their own man, the ball emerges, and let's look for the drop goal.
There's Arthur Stone given the time to aim and go for the post. And a beautifully struck kick there by Arthur Stone. So New Zealand lead then by 6 points to 0. And really in a position now perhaps to develop on this early lead.
But I think certainly the onus now is on France. They've played a very limited game so far, wanting the confrontation to be at forward. That is something that New Zealand won't let go by easily. It's now up to France to think of a different style of tactics to lift their own game.
Meanwhile, that's a quickly taken kick there by Serge Blanco. Across there, beautifully taken by right wing Philippe Perrault. Out again on the French side, into Blanco. The ball going forward, though, in that challenge, as the referee's whistle goes. But certainly a great sight there. Serge Blanco coming into the line at speed.
At last, they're being forced to rethink their game. They've got now 6 points behind to start thinking of different ways of attacking this New Zealand team.
Certainly it looks as if their ploy of keeping it tight there in the front row of the scrum isn't going to work. Now they try and put pressure on this New Zealand scrum, but Shelford helps out Kirk to get the ball to Bottiger. And Frano Bottica's kick is a good long one, taking play up to halfway.
Again, Shelford taking that new position of his, not between the two locks, but between the lock and the wing forward. Obviously, they're getting some success from that.
Wetton and Pearce, important characters in this New Zealand lineout. Goes to the front though for France towards Laurier. But the referee's whistle goes as the two hookers have a bit of a tussle. With just about 3 minutes then to go to half-time, although we will have quite a lot of injury time. As this time it's the All Black forwards who are penalised. It's the loose head Steve McDowell who's penalised. And Philippe Perrault, the French right winger, who's a phenomenal kicker, is being called up.
Also emphasizing too that Les Carbura, who's had injuries on his leg, does not want to test it further by taking the face kick.
So Philippe Perrault then facing a kick from just inside the All Black half. Perrault, who plays fullback for his club Agen, winning today his second cap, having won his first a few weeks ago in that 20-3 win over Romania. On that day he scored a try, kicked 2 penalties and a conversion, and is, we are told, a quite prodigious kicker. Well, let's see then if Perrault can bring France back into this game. Certainly well struck, and it's there off the post. So the French then are right back in it at 6 points to 3, thanks to that penalty by right wing Philippe Perrault. Here we can have a look at it again. Beautifully struck. And just when it looked for a moment as if it might just drift wide, it just clipped the inside of the post and went over. So that's it then, the score coming up to half-time. France trailing now then by just 3 points. As Kieran Crowley restarts for New Zealand. French scrum half, Bebizier waits for it. Out to Lescabura. Green underneath it for New Zealand. The ball still alive. Trey Green, big kick. And a knock forward by Carbonati. Referee will wait for advantage to New Zealand, and it does accrue to them. Frano Bottica, lovely sidestep. And that was a late tackle, was it? In fact, no, the referee has given a mark to Perrault, the French right wing. And Perrault's kick this time is a successful one, and play once more almost up to halfway. Into time then, added on 4 injuries at the end of this first half. New Zealand in the lead by 6 points to 3 thanks to 2 drop goals. The one by fullback Kieran Crowley, the second by centre Arthur Stone, to a penalty by Perrault for France. France this time though penalised. Carbonati, the number 8. And Jock Hobbs and David Kirk, the 2 leaders of this New Zealand side, decide that fullback Crowley will go for goal.
And it shows too that Sims both players, both the France and the All Blacks, are trying such long kicks. The conditions here this afternoon are really quite perfect for rugby football. There's not a breeze in the air, so the players like Crowley now can attempt this penalty goal from this distance.
Kieran Crowley, as you can imagine, will come into the most amazing pressure from the noise of this home crowd. But already he's got quite a bit of experience under his belt, has Kieran Crowley, despite his tender years, just 21 years of age. Playing today his 5th test match for New Zealand. But that one just dropping short and taken behind his own line by Serge Blanco. He finally touches down and gets a quick pass up to Lescabura. Lescabura, the long, deep kick down there. Crowley is back though. Goes up almost there to the edge of his own 22 to get maximum distance with that kick. And with 2 minutes gone of extra time, play is midway between the halfway line and the French 22. That's back once more on the New Zealand side, but the referee's whistle has gone for a scrum. And the ball obviously going France's way. New Zealand's way, rather. Kirk, out to Botica. Botica, lovely running. In there to Kerwin. Kerwin, superb play by this big right winger. Blanco's across to tackle him. Still New Zealand have the ball. Back it comes once more, but no, they make a mess of it. And the chance now for French to counter-attack. Eric Champ, the wing forward, is in there. And again, the referee's whistle has gone. Shelford, number 8, for New Zealand, was in there. He is, in fact, penalised. But it certainly looked as if Kerwin was going to set up something there for New Zealand, Gerald.
Well, it's New Zealand so far in this first half who have shown the more aptitude towards constructive play. They're the ones that have looked to play the game, to go over the scores. France, disappointingly so far, kept a very tight watch on the tight play in the scrum, the line-outs and the mauls. The onus is on them, as I said earlier on, to look for something else. At least New Zealand are being the constructive side. Ball bobbing about scrappily. And Carminati was flung out of that line-out, but a chance for France then to counter-attack. Lovely running by Bonneval. Gets support from Salah, but his pass is a bad one. And Ferro has to go back and hack through, but certainly the promise of something there from Eric Bonneval.
Welcome back again. Well, a hard and compromising first half there. Just the sort of game we expected, really. 6-3 to New Zealand at the moment, and we're just going to have a look now at the main highlights of that first half. So, 6-3 to New Zealand after that first half. Here's Bob Simmons once again.
No, not quite good enough. That's an area where they need to settle down fairly quickly, I think.
So Berbizier, the French from half-foot, and again that's tapped back by Carminati, but through go the All Blacks. Murray Pierce, lovely pass there to Gary Wetton. That's to Stone. Stone is tackled just short. In go the All Blacks, now getting second place possession, superbly done to Botica, to Stanley. And here's surely a try. No, they make a bit of a mess of it. Great chance there for New Zealand is lost. And the French escape dramatically. Meanwhile, again back here, the ball has been won by France, but that's a poor kick there by Says Blanco. Up to John Cohen, the long drop goal attempt by Cohen, the fullback. And it's there. So the first points of the board then come from the boots of the New Zealand fullback, Kieran Crowley. New Zealand in the lead by 3 points to 0. A fine piece of opportunism.
And that's the halfway line there that we've just seen. A beautifully struck ball by him, and it's struck so well that it carries all that distance straight between the posts. Is something that I think, on the constructive part of play so far, New Zealand deserves. But look where Shelford is placed this time. He's taken a different position at the scrum.
Botica picks up for New Zealand. Gets support there too from number 6, Mike Brewer. Back once again, a chance for a drop goal for Arthur Stone, and it's there. So a second drop goal then of this first half for New Zealand. And it's the Maori centre, Arthur Stone, who gets it over to double New Zealand's lead to 6-0.
And it's interesting to see at the scrummage. It's the fourth time that has happened now that on their own put-in, Shelford, in fact, places himself between the second row and the wing forward. It doesn't come back cleanly, but New Zealand recruit quick enough. They get there, they get behind their own man, the ball emerges, and let's look for the drop goal.
There's Arthur Stone given the time to aim and go for the post. And a beautifully struck kick there by Arthur Stone. It's certainly well struck. And it's there off the post. So the French then are right back in it at 6 points to 3, thanks to that penalty by right wing Philippe Perrault. Here we can have a look at it again. Beautifully struck. And just when it looked for a moment as if it might just drift wide, it just clipped the inside of the post and went over.
Hello, welcome back to International Rugby, and I'm pleased to say that we're able to return now to Toulouse for coverage of the second half. Commentator is Bob Simmons.
In the second half. It was a tough, uncompromising first half from both teams. What constructive rugby we had, we came from New Zealand. We want more of that kind of thing.
It's back anyway on the French side this time. Loriot sets it up. That's in there to Garouet. And a good drive here by Rodriguez. Fine play here by the French pack. Now can they win second place possession? They do indeed. Into Champ. Out there. And a chance here. The try is scored by Philippe Sella. So, fine play then by France at the start of this second half. Brings us the first try of this game. Lovely play, first of all, by the French pack, and then a quick release, allowing...
Well, we're sorry about the loss of the lines there from Toulouse. We'll do our best to help you out with the pictures for a while from here. So France into the lead with that try by Philippe Sella. 7 points to 6 they lead now, with New Zealand back on the attack again. And I'm glad to say we're now able to rejoin Bob Simmons in Toulouse.
Side once more then. Kirk to Botica. To Stone. Botica on the loop. That's out to Crowley. And into touch, says the touch judge, Roger Quittenden. Indeed, he has given the penalty to France. Here we can see the incident. The ball out on the left here to Crowley. Lifting back in field. And the incident we saw there, and the referee deciding, in fact, he wants to have a word with Jock Hobbs, the skipper. But could you see who was involved in that incident there, Gerald?
It is very difficult to see. It's one of the fences.
Having to go off. And the French waiting to bring on a replacement. Very fortunate, in fact, to have a replacement of the quality of Dominique Herbani, a back row forward of international stature, to come onto the field.
But Carminati has made an immense contribution to the French cause this afternoon in getting that ball at the back of the line out. That so often, 3 or 4 times in that first half, he was the man back in defence, saving the day for the French team.
So the French up to full strength once again then, with Herbani on the field, replacing Carminati. Condom that time going through for France, but the French penalised for being offside. So a penalty then for New Zealand, and a chance maybe for Kieran Crowley to regain the lead for them once more. France over recent seasons, there's Herbani, the replacement, but the France in recent seasons have been guilty of a great deal of indiscipline that has cost them a lot, something that coach Jacques Fourou has been very much aware of, and they will certainly hope that their indiscipline does not cost them this game, having gone into the lead just after half-time with a try by Sella. It's now Crowley who will take this kick at goal, just to the left of the post. Crowley taking 3 steps to his left. Amazing cacophony of sound as he prepares to take this penalty, but strokes it beautifully. So once again then New Zealand are back in the lead by 9 points to 7. New Zealand still, though, without a try on the board. The one try of this game coming from France. As Lescabura once more restarts. As again, the sun returns to a lovely autumn afternoon here at Toulouse. Beautifully taken by Babizier, just knocked it back, but play allowed to continue. Babizier's kick, though, is not a good one. To remind you, is the French replacement, Dominique Herbani, who has come on for Alain Carminati, the number 8. The French with Jean Condom and Alain Lorient, the 2 locks at the front of the line, so they can again throw it long towards Champ in the back row. The ball has gone forward. So this will be a scrum to New Zealand. Once more, the scrum goes down. And it's Shelford who drives through for New Zealand, looking for second place possession, but the ruck not allowed to go on for any length of time. Champ, the last man up there for France. And Kirk to Botica. That kick over the head of Barrow. Bouncing well too from the All Black point of view into touch. Setting them up once more in attacking position just outside the French 22.
It's the period of consolidation now for the All Blacks. In fact, now that they're in the lead, they'll want to contain. They don't want to see France break out at the moment. It'll be a period of containment, I should think, from the All Blacks.
That ball looking to be coming back on the New Zealand side, but in fact, two New Zealand forwards caught offside. So a chance again then for Leskabura to take his side back into the opposition half. That's a long kick, but it's not a good one. Green, the All Black left wing, puts it down there, but it's straight to Babizier. Linking once more with Champ. Champ too, getting support from Rodriguez, his back row colleague. Through though go New Zealand. And some good spoiling there by the All Blacks when it looked certainly as if France were going to get the ball back. And at the bottom of it all is the French number 6, Eric Champ. One of the outstanding young new characters on the world rugby scene. Kirk then into the scrum. Boddicker goes blind. Looking to go through himself, gets through one tackle, gets through two. It's Leskabura who's there trying to put him down. New Zealand keep the ball alive. Back goes Kirk to try and feed it infield. Does so to Stone, but he takes his eye off the ball momentarily. They're allowing Loriot to go through for France. Penalty to France quickly taken. Chance there for Stella to set something up here. Tries to lick back in field. But the whistle has gone again, but the French certainly showing some urgency there.
Well, they'll want to get back into the lead as quickly as possible. You know, with good competitors, they don't want to be behind that long. You know, the reaction must be quickly. You know, the response must be a quick response once you do go behind. Just as happened with New Zealand there. They lost the lead for a moment, but they took the opportunity to get back into the lead as quickly as possible. France, I'm sure, will want to do the same.
It's Arthur Stone, number 12, the New Zealand centre, needing attention. Arthur Stone, in fact, first tap on this ground from Toulouse on the New Zealand short tour of 1981. He's okay, though. Seems to have taken something of a bang around the head. But he's happy to continue in that inside centre position, what we would call anyway the inside centre position in Britain, a key part of the New Zealand game. David Kirk, that kick down for Kerwin, but the referee has spotted an offside. Champ it was on the French side, offside. So it's David Kirk then to set something up here for the New Zealanders. Puts up the high one. Erbani, the replacement, looking to catch it, but leaves it, but a late tackle there on the French side, and France take it quickly and counter-attack to Stella. Leskabura, beautifully taken by Blanco, out to Barrow. Barrow puts down the kick. Blanco looking to be in an offside position. The referee, though, does decide that he's okay, so France can go on, but finally it's David Kirk, the New Zealand scrum half, who gets in the clearance kick. But again, France showing they're alive to all sorts of opportunities and some lovely handling in the back division there, particularly from fullback Blanco. Meanwhile, though, it's the line out. Vizier, though, the French scrum half, putting in towards Erbani and Champ at the back, but it breaks for New Zealand. Kirk's kick as Barrow slips. And France in trouble, but Barrow recovers. Leskabura, number 10, was in there trying to aid him.
But all of New Zealand were after that ball. France seemed a little bit leaden-footed then, coming back to regroup and to regather. New Zealand going forward. Beautiful kick by Kirk into the box, unattended, although Barrow did get it, but New Zealand were getting there in numbers.
So again, the All Blacks will look for possession here, but once again, down goes the scrum. Shabowski and Drake on the one side with McDowell and Garraway on the other. Garouet on this side, the French tight head. The pickup by Brewer, but the referee wants another scrum, in fact, the ball having been nudged forward. As Champ, the number 6, went down on the ball. So a quarter of an hour gone then in the second half as the Bizier prepares to feed, but once more, and the referee throws up his hands in anguish, but really it's up to him, really, Gerald, to do something about it.
And it's something that should have been sorted out in that early part of the game. Had he done so, it wouldn't have dragged on as it has done.
Pick up by Rodriguez, but the interception there by Brewer, and that's into Shelford. Loses the ball, though, as Salah takes it for France. That's certainly a promising move there by New Zealand.
But the handling of either side hasn't quite been up to the mark this afternoon. Both sides, in fact, when they have been moving with the ball, there have been errors in handling.
Still, New Zealand can keep up the pressure here on France, on their own 22, the Frenchmen. But the scrum is good and solid as that ball goes back to Blanco. And just infield, quickly taken by Cohen, into Stone. Stone's kick is taken by Garouet. But it's back on the New Zealand side. But in fact, Touch Judge Quittenden's flag is up. Roger Quittenden of England helping out on this side of the field this afternoon, calls them back. And an injury once more on the All Black side, is it? To skipper Jock Hobbs. Roger Quittenden, an international referee, of course, in his own right. Lovely playing surface here for both teams, Gerald.
Yes, it is. It's ideal conditions, in fact, but it's going to be an interesting period now for the next 10 minutes. New Zealand, as we have seen in the last 5 minutes, since they've taken the lead, are quite happy now to put the ball into the air to make sure that the ball is ahead of the forward, running onto it. Period, as I say, of containment for New Zealand, whereas France, on the opportunities that they've had, they want to spread it as much as possible.
Well, we seem to have lost both sound and vision due to the fact that I think we've lost lines from France. Not quite as many as have been lost on the pitch this afternoon. Rob, a quick word from you and the guests.
Yes, John, 9-7 to the All Blacks. They're coming right back into it after that flourish by the French, really.
Yes, the two teams seem to cancel themselves out the first half, both very equal. But now they both realise they've got to do a bit more than, as it were, run head-on at each other. They're moving the ball a bit wider and we're seeing some good rugby.
Jeff, how do you see it going from there then now?
It'll be interesting, Rob. I think the loss of the number 8 will be a big blow to France because he was playing exceptionally well. And him and Champ will win a lot of ball.
Well, I'm glad to say we can go back to Toulouse now. We've got the pictures. We hope to bring you the sound any time now.
Okay, and they drive on. Shelford, the number 8, they're trying to pick up. But the BG was in for France, but that's a try. So it's Wayne Shelford then, the number 8, who gets New Zealand's first try of this game. And certainly from the drive in the scrum, it had an air of inevitability about it.
This must have been quite a shock to the French system, I must say, because they've prided themselves on the power and the strength of their pack. They've played the game that way. Here it comes. New Zealand win the ball. Shelford shifts his position across the scrum, and here go New Zealand, keeping that ball as close to his feet. Is Shelford battling with the Bizier for the ball. He gets it and drives and powers his way over for the try.
So a great debut then in international rugby for Wayne Shelford. Getting a try on his debut, which Kieran Crowley now, the fullback, will attempt to convert. To extend New Zealand's lead, which at the moment is 13-7. Crowley just to the right of the post. But it's wide. So a chance lost then for New Zealand's fullback Kieran Crowley. But as I say, the All Blacks are in the lead by 13 points to 7, and certainly Gerald will take some catching, I would have thought now.
Well, there's a full goal there, the full 6 points that France need now, and I think they've got to look for it other than by kicking penalties.
Lescabura's kick is a long, deep one, but taken there by Crowley. So Botica prepares to drop out. A long one from Frano Botica, but one of his men, probably left wing Craig Green, was standing in front of the ball. So the advantage lost, and France with a chance to scrum their ball under the shadow of the New Zealand posts. If they're going to get back into this game, they need a try and conversion immediately. Referee Stridham wanting the French pack back on the 22. As Berbizier feeds. That ball at the feet of Urbani. Out to Berbizier. Blanco is in the line. That's the little kick through there for Perrault, but it's not a good one from the French fullback. Lying prostrate on the ground, more from a sense of disappointment, I'm sure, rather being placed in such a position that it gains New Zealand possession again the next time. Wetton 5 it was who went up for that ball. And it's coming back again, is it, on the New Zealand side? Yes, it is. To Botica, into Stone. Botica again on the loop, but the dummy this time into Cohen. Cohen getting support there from skipper Hobbs. Rodriguez, number 7, was in for France. And in fact, he won the ball, but illegally. And a great chance then for New Zealand to extend their lead. The referee deciding that the ball had been played off the ground with a man on his knee.
Yes, of course. I mean, the man also stayed on his feet at that moment, but he went to ground and played it, and that's the penalty.
So Crowley then, with his kick already with a drop goal and the penalty to his credit. And for an international kicker of his stature, a fairly straightforward effort. One that'll take New Zealand out of range, really. Will give them a 9-point lead if the kick by Kieran Crowley is successful. No trouble at all for the New Zealand fullback. Just a few strides and then calmly knocked between the posts. So then, with just 6 minutes to go of normal time before the end of this game, New Zealand lead by 16 points to 7. France then with quite a mountain to climb. A try and conversion will no longer bring them level. And Crowley going for quite some distance there, taking play up to halfway. Although the French and fullback Serge Blanco in particular thought that that ball was still alive. So Kirk will feed once more. Under pressure from Berbizier, but the drive is on there by Shelford, this big number 8 again. But the ball nudged forward. Wayne Shelford, the number 8, can be pretty happy with his debut in international rugby today. A try to his credit and a good, powerful performance. Eric Champ, it was, the French number 6, caught offside that time.
But France paying the price in that they've played or expected to play and be the dominating side at forward. That tactic has failed today, and as we look at the scrum now in the second half, the latter part of the second half, is New Zealand who are showing the strength in the scrum.
That was left wing Andrea, who was bundled over as he tried to take that high kick from David Kirk. So New Zealand once more then back in the French 22. In fact, they get a scrum from that little nudge forward by Andrea. So Kirk once more then can feed. Shelford with the ball at his feet. That's out to Botica. Botica brings right wing Kerwin into play. Kerwin keeps the ball alive. Links in there. To Shelford. Shelford. Kirk. Botica. Oh, but for once Botica deciding on what he was going to do before the ball was in his hands. With just about 3 minutes of normal time to go, France trailing by 9 points to New Zealand in this, the first of a 2-test series, the second test taking place in Nantes next Saturday. Bezier switches this time to Blanco. That's out to Andrea. Blanco was on the outside of him, but Andrea's kick is a full one straight into touch. And New Zealand in the remaining minutes of this match looking to consolidate and hang on to this lead. Fitzpatrick in then, but it's back on the French side. Bunny looking as if he'd taken it at first, but in fact nudging it forward. Again then Kirk feeds. Out to Kerwin again, this big right winger. Kirk is up on the loop again too. That long pass infield there, taken by Wetton. Wetton drives on. Now can New Zealand win second place possession? No, well, Barney 18, the replacement, was down there preventing the ball coming out. But certainly a great sight, a New Zealand team in full flow.
And they know now that they're driving their way home. They are in control.
A pick up again there by Shelford, looking for support from Brewer. He's brought down, but the ball is alive. Kirk trying to wriggle through himself, getting support from his forwards, but once more the referee's whistle has gone. The ball having gone forward as we're in the last minute of normal time. But once more an injury on the far side of the field to a New Zealand player. New Zealand having beaten France 18 points to 9 in the summer with a team that contained only 4 caps. Many of their players having been barred temporarily for taking part in the Cavaliers Tour of South Africa. And certainly that was a psychological blow for the French, who had expected to beat that New Zealand team. They failed to do so. In fact, on their tour this summer of New Zealand, Argentina and Australia, they won just 1 of the 4 tests played. So, a difficult time facing them this season, and again, after the further psychological blow of losing this game as they appear likely to do. Let's see if the home countries can take advantage of that in the Five Nations Championship. Through with the pickup then as we go into injury time at the end of this game. The last time France, in fact, beat New Zealand was back in 1979 in Auckland. And it looks as if New Zealand are on course for their 21st victory of the series of matches. Can they actually get a try to seal that victory? Stone is on the dummy. That's the long pass, beautifully taken by the fullback. And a high tackle, in fact, there on left wing. Craig Green will bring New Zealand the breathing space they need at the end of this game.
And it's a marvellous ball, the New Zealand win here again. Time and time again, they've beaten France through that breakdown. Here's the dummy scissor. Look at this long pass. It beautifully picked up by Crawley on his knees. On the scissors comes Green into midfield, and there's the high tackle from Blanco.
There's Blanco then, the man guilty of that high tackle on left wing Craig Green, who still needs some treatment. but he's going to be okay. So as I say, Kieran Crowley can actually seal this New Zealand victory now with a penalty as we go 2 minutes into injury time at the end of this game. Cohen looking at the posts, which are just to his right. I'm sure he will take all the time available to him here to soak up the injury time that's been played at the end of this game. Now almost 2.5 minutes into it. Crowley goes for his third penalty of this match to go with a drop goal in the first half, which kicks off the scoring. Beautifully struck then by Crowley. So New Zealand in the lead, home and dry now, surely, as we're almost 3 minutes into injury time at the end of this game. 19 points to 7 they lead. But time for the French perhaps to put one more attack together. Lescabura gives the ball to Blanco. Blanco then restarts, hoping that one of his forwards can get over in time to tap it back, but it's taken by New Zealand. New Zealand looking for possession there, but that ball's not going to come back. Dubroca, the French skipper, and Hooker, the last man to go down. But again an injury, this time it's Lescabura, the French outside half. Lescabura had been doubtful for this game because of an ankle injury, but he looks to be in a bit of bother again. Looks a little groggy. But very little time left in this game. In fact, we're almost 5 minutes into injury time already. And as Lescabura leaves the field, outside opposition. Puts up the kick, but it's not a good one. Doesn't get a great deal of distance there. The All Blacks win possession. But again, the referee's whistle goes. Still no final whistle. Back on the French side, out to Blanco. Blanco the switch there to Salah. Salah, powerful run. Back into strength. Barney 18, the replacement, was in there trying to get the ball out. And it's back once more on the French side, then to Blanco. Bad pass though by Blanco. Andrea. Good running though by Marc Andrea. Out to Salah. Salah linking in field to Bebizier. To Blanco, but surely that ball forward. Indeed it is, as we are now almost 6 minutes into injury time as the French attempt to bring on their replacement, who is Mesnier, a youngster from Paris, wanting to win his first cap for the few seconds that are left in this game, but he can't get on yet. As Kirk kicks that ball deep. The French now able to bring on their replacement outside half, Mesnier. So he's going to win his first cap. Also briefly, it's even doubtful if he will actually get a touch of the ball on this, his first international appearance. This almost certainly the last line out of the game. That goes long and it's back on the French side to Dubroca. This is the new cap. Getting his first touch, tries to link to Urbani, does so, the replacement. links in there to Rodriguez. But the French losing the ball at the end before Champ can recover. Now it's Andrea. Marc-Andrea. Finally brought down by Shelford. Good support though by Rodriguez. Into Dubroca. Back once more on the French side. Andrea, but Minel loses the ball. Offside, in fact, New Zealand. So France once again can take a quick tap penalty, can they? They must do, surely. Bebizier, these scrum halves, setting something up here. With the two locks, Condon, Laurier, holding onto the ball. Bani, Bebizier, that's the drive into Champ, looking for his first international try. Doesn't quite get there yet. But it's Ken is coming back on the French side, into Dubroca. The try, though, not given. And it's Arthur Stone who can get the ball away. But the ball had gone forward. So as we are almost 8 minutes now into injury time at the end of this game. France camped on the New Zealand line. So unlucky there. Dubroca drove through, but held up, the referee decided, just short of the line. The ball went loose and broke on the New Zealand side, but back live here, it's Bebizier, Pierre Bebizier, feeding the scrum. Out there to the replacement. On again, drive France. Once again, though, the referee can't give it. Mesnel, the French replacement, coming on. Almost scoring a try within minutes of making his international debut. 8.5 minutes now then into injury time at the end of this game. New Zealand leading by 19 points to 7. The French side camped just a couple of meters or so from the New Zealand line. Can they get a consolation try? First of all, the referee wants them back a couple of meters. Bebizier, the long flat pass to Blanco, but he can't hang onto the ball. Craig Green, number 11 for New Zealand, was there. But again, it breaks on the French side. Tichon. Once more, the referee's whistle goes, and referee Stridham finally goes for Halsten. At the end of this game, New Zealand the winners by 19 points to 7. 6-3 they led at half-time, thanks to 2 drop goals by Crowley and Stone to a penalty by Barrow. Salah then scored a try for France just after half-time, but 3 penalties by Crowley and a try by Shelford has made this the famous first victory in this 2-match series for New Zealand. New Zealand the winners by 19 points to 7.
Yes, a very convincing win indeed there for New Zealand in the first test at Toulouse. Well, our panellists by my side here hardly said a word during that second half, so intense was their concentration, but I'm sure they're ready to make up for that. Rob?
Yes, John, first thing to be said, a very impressive performance by the All Blacks.
Certainly was, Rob. It wasn't really until the last quarter of the match that France were allowed, that New Zealand were allowed to play their game, but they got on top and then they started to move the ball, and I was especially pleased, shall I say, to see how well their pack did eventually get on top of the French ones.
Yes, Jeff, once they do get on top up front, that's it, isn't it, really, with the All Blacks?
Terrific, Rob. Yeah, as John said, you know, for 2/3 of the game, the French were in it, but then the All Black machine got into gear and it was all over.
But we have to say, I think, that the French, when they did get the ball, they do show what a smashing set of bats they really
Yes, that's right. You know, it's a pity, really, that the French backs didn't have the ball that the New Zealand backs had to work off, especially the Sailors try, which was an absolutely textbook try. And it's a pity, really, that the French forwards didn't give the backs some more second phase quality possession to work off.